We start with overnight news on a big police SWAT standoff overnight in the far northeast Heights in Albuquerque. Take a look. This is what it looked like for most of the night near Copper and Tramway. Police swarmed this area in a set of apartments there. They had many roads blocked off. Police say there was a man who was threatening suicide that caused this whole standoff. Now, at one point, the SWAT team showed up in full gear with their guns out. Everything is cleared up right now. Investigators have not told us if that man did in fact have a gun or if they ended up arresting him or taking him to the hospital. Well, subhuman, greedy, lowlifes, those words written to describe the people of Albuquerque in a comment on a very popular blog. They were posted on the Eye on Albuquerque website, and they take aim at Albuquerque's police officers first, calling them worthless and needy. Now, the writer claims to be an Albuquerque Police Union board member. The union's vice president, though, Sean Willoughby here, denies that. Well, then the writer turns on the community at large, too, writing, and I quote, "The liberal," I don't really want to read that R word, "band of vengeful activists called Albuquerque makes me sick." Then the writer narrows his aim, calling people who march against APD and sue the department, quote, "uneducated, subhuman animals." Their words, not mine. Mayoral candidate and retired APD cop Paul Hay was also called out on the blog for being a rat when he, quote, "crossed the blue line and made a complaint against former union president Joey Segala." Now Mr. Hay is calling on APD Chief Alan Banks and the current president, Stephanie Lopez, president of the union, to investigate.
Stephanie should look into it. If it turns out that it is a board member, that person should be immediately suspended from the board.
Albuquerque's police department has no comment on that comment, nor did current mayor R.J. Berry or Pete Dinelli, who is running for mayor this fall. A Santa Fe police detective is on paid suspension today after a female officer accused a detective of raping her. State police are investigating this report. The detective accused of the rape has been on the force for more than 10 years. The officer who says she was raped is still on duty. State police are not saying anything else about their investigation, but when they're done, they will turn over the case to the district attorney's office. An arrest last night in a police shooting in Shiprock from last Friday night. Police arrested Victor Tyler, and he is set to be in U.S. District Court today. Tyler was shot on Friday, and a Navajo officer was stabbed in the foot during a fight. Both of them should survive. Tyler was arrested by Shiprock criminal investigations officers from the Navajo Nation Public Safety Division and then turned over to FBI agents. Well, the state police bomb team got some real-world training yesterday that they say is critical to keeping New Mexico and the people here safe. The team's task was to clear a simulated meth and homemade explosives lab looking for tripwires and booby traps. The training scenario here was run by Los Alamos National Lab's hazardous device team. The fake bombs and devices are inspired by real ones.
Some of the devices that I used today were from used in Afghanistan or Iraq, and then there's some other ones that were really simple that were normal used in drug labs throughout the U.S.
You can't put a price tag on a facility and the expertise that's provided to us here for a training scenario.
Some pretty real-life training right there. The bomb team has been especially busy this year, handling 90% more calls than it did at this time last year. Other bomb squads have to pay thousands of dollars to get this kind of training, while here they get it free. A drunk driver who killed 2 of her passengers should find out how long she's going to spend in prison this afternoon. Stephanie Mendez tested nearly 3 times the legal limit back in March of 2011 after her car went out of control on the Montano entrance to I-25. Her car crashed into a minivan. 4 of the 5 people in Mendez's car were thrown out. 2 died. Thank goodness the woman and 2 children in the van were okay. Mendez pled guilty back in May to 2 counts of vehicular homicide and 2 counts of causing great bodily harm. A mom is still in jail in Albuquerque after police say she threatened to kill herself and her kids. Investigators say the woman's 6-year-old daughter told them her mom threatened to throw her off a bridge. Tawana Size, right here, was in court yesterday facing child abuse charges. Investigators say Size got into an argument with her husband, then threatened to kill herself and the kids. She took off with her daughters, a 6-year-old and a 2-month-old. Deputies were going to issue an Amber Alert when they found Size here near Edith and Alameda and arrested her. The kids, thank goodness, were not hurt. Size told deputies she is bipolar and hasn't taken her medication in about a year. They say she admitted to threatening herself, but not her kids. A former Albuquerque firefighter is set to be sentenced in just a few hours for his role in stashing $200,000 for the Sinaloa Mexican drug cartel. Steve Chavez took a deal in April, pleading guilty to just one of the 29 counts against him. He'll have to serve at least 2 years in prison, but Chavez has spent the past year and a half under house arrest with an ankle monitor. Chavez's attorney is asking for that to count as time served. If granted, Chavez would only have to serve about 6 months behind bars. Well, the trucker who was carjacked with a gun and held for hours testified yesterday at the murder trial of John McCluskey. Castle and Welch helped McCluskey and Tracy Province break out of a prison in Arizona in 2010. The truck driver, Prabjeet Bains, right here, testified the three carjacked him and his partner, drove them and the semi to Flagstaff, and voted on whether to kill the two. Well, the three of them finally let the two drivers go and were picked up by McCluskey's ex-wife. The trio then fled to New Mexico, where they're accused of carjacking and killing these two, Gary and Linda Haas, near Santa Rosa. Prosecutors say McCluskey is the one who pulled the trigger. They want him executed for it. Province and Welch cut deals to avoid the death penalty. They are expected to testify against John McCluskey. Well, a contract for a hospital in Berlin was approved, but now the village of Los Lunas is suing to stop it all. The village wants the contract between the city of Berlin and Valencia County for hospital mill levy funds declared invalid. Los Lunas and Berlin have been fighting for quite some time about where this hospital is going to go, but last month the county commission voted to give the mill levy funds to Berlin if the city met a number of requirements. Los Lunas has said it would move forward with its own hospital with or without the money. Well, now the village is citing 4 reasons why that contract is invalid, and it's asking for it to be ruled void. No hearing date for that lawsuit has been set. Well, Governor Susana Martinez will be announcing a plan to combat Alzheimer's in just a few hours. It's a statewide effort to deal with growing challenges that come with Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. The governor's father died on New Year's Eve after a long battle with Alzheimer's. This is something very close to her heart. Governor Martinez is scheduled to announce her plan at 10 this morning at the 35th Annual Conference on Aging. We will let you know what she says. We'll also have a very nice story, touching story about the governor and her sister and how she cares for her, coming up in about a half hour. All right, 5:08 right now on this